Hey guys, it's Tech Genie back again with another video. Today we are bringing you a quick video on all you need to know about iOS 10. So you may know recently WWDC16 happened, and in that they released all software. There was no new hardware released, but a lot of that software was quite interesting, and in that they released iOS 10. So we're going to give you all you need to know basically about iOS 10. So without any further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention basically with iOS 10 is they've changed it up a lot basically on the notification side and the lock screen. Basically what they've done is they've said the problem is with the iPhone 6 and 6S is when you press the home button to unlock the phone, and if you've got Touch ID enabled, it is so quick that it just unlocks the phone immediately. Now if you've seen our iPhone SE video, you'll see just how quick that is, and what that means is you don't actually have time to read the notifications on your lock screen. So what Apple have done is they've decided to bring up this thing called Raise to Wake, and what that is if you lift your phone up off the table, you then have your phone screen turn on and all your notifications are still there on your lock screen. Now the other thing they've done with the lock screen is they've changed the way it looks. So now instead of just that bar with your notification in and a line, they've just got a nice white bubble, and they've changed up the way it looks, and the way I see it, it looks pretty nice, and they've allowed different types of shortcuts on there. So you can do force touch on there to bring up certain widgets inside the app. So for example, if you've got a calendar notification, you can force touch on that and it'll bring up some selections. For example, decline event or allow event. And obviously there are different things you can do within different apps. So that's going to open up a whole load of new stuff to do with Force Touch, because I have heard a lot of people have just stopped using Force Touch because there wasn't really much you could do with it when it first came out, but it seems now they're bringing Force Touch back into a lot of stuff, so it could actually become something quite useful for the iPhone. Now a few more things they've done with the lock screen is if you now slide to the right, you do open your camera, and if you slide to the left, they've allowed widgets on your lock screen. That is awesome, and it basically allows for a lot more functionality on your lock screen that you can do without having to go into your phone. Now that is basically it in terms of the lock screen and what goes on the lock screen. One last thing I would like to mention really quickly is now you can clear all of your notifications. And I think what you do is you force touch on the X button and it clears all of your notifications without having to swipe to get rid of every single one. So that's obviously a lot better. I wish they would do that for your apps drawer so you can just quit all apps on one. But obviously they haven't decided to do that yet. Let's hope for iOS 11 they will do that. Okay, so the second thing that they have done is Control Center. It's had a whole complete new revamp. Now a lot of people have had a problem with it, the fact that the icons are too small to press, and they've had a few problems. So what they've done is they've changed it up a bit, they've changed the way that it looks, and they've also increased the size of the icons. And the nights button, where it basically gets rid of all blue light, is now a long bar at the bottom, and it's a lot quicker to press and easier to press. And obviously that was a really good thing that they brought in, and obviously trying to showcase that a bit more. So they basically made the Control Center a bit more useful and decluttered, is I think the words they used. So now you can do a lot more on the Control Center. If you slide to the right, I believe, you open up your music and you can play music on there, and it basically displays the artwork on your Control Center, and it's a lot better and more functional to use for your music. Okay, so that is the second thing that they have done with the iOS 10 update. Now the third thing I wanted to talk about was Siri. Now if you've actually used Siri, you will know that it's not the best. By no means is it bad, but it's not the best, and it does have a lot of room for improvement, and it seems Apple have heard our voices and they have done that. And this is actually quite incredible. What they've done is they've said, for example, you can say, "Hey Siri, shoot a message to someone saying blah." So for example, if you're from Scotland and you use certain different words like "we" for small, that's just one example. I'm not sure if there's many others that I know of, but wherever you're from on the planet, basically, for your language, there's lots of different ways of saying stuff. And Siri will now recognise that, so you can say, "Shoot a quick message to my friend that I'll be late," and it will just say, "Okay, I'll do that." And then it has also been allowed to work with third-party apps. So for example, you could say, the example they used was WeChat, and they said, "Shoot this person a message through WeChat," and it will know what WeChat is, and it will send a message through WeChat, which is obviously brilliant. It allows a lot more usability for Siri, and Siri now understands you a lot better. So that's great. Basically, Siri before was only limited really to searching the web and obviously within iMessages. So Siri has been made a lot better and understands us a lot better. Okay, so I kind of saved the best till last. In my opinion, the biggest updates they have done is messages. Now if you saw the keynote, you'll be quite impressed with what they've done. There's lots of different things they've done with it, and I'm going to try and go through some of them quite quickly with some pictures up on the screen now. So basically what they've done is they've allowed for large emojis. So if you know at the moment you send an emoji and it sends it quite small, well they've made them 3 times bigger if you just send emoji on its own, so that's quite cool. in itself. Now, another thing they've done is they've allowed for when you're typing a message and you say something, for example, shall we go to the cinema? It changes the word cinema with a camera emoji, and it basically swaps out words for emojis, which I think is quite a fun idea. And you don't have to go searching through for all the emojis. It will suggest the emojis for you, which is brilliant. Okay, so the third thing that they've done within messages is they've allowed for message animations, basically. And what this means is you have lots of settings where you can say send the message as a reveal. So if you want to reveal the text message, it comes through with some sort of blurred writing, and you can swipe along that to slowly reveal the message. You can have it slam in quite big and then sort of wobble about a bit just to get your point across. And there's lots of different ones I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but basically what this allows for is a lot more dynamic way of sending messages and receiving messages, and it should be a lot more fun. Now, they've also allowed for sending, I think it's photo messages or something like that, where you can draw on it and you can send a live photo drawing on it, which is quite fun and allows for a lot of creativity within the Messages app. And then finally what they've done is they have allowed for full screen animations, I think. I'm not quite sure the exact name, but basically if you send a message, you can say send with this animation on it, and it'll change the whole screen to something. So for example, confetti could fall down, or you could have balloons, or I think there's one they did in the keynote and it's got lots of lights flashing and stuff like that, and everybody will see this when they open their messages, and it just adds a lot more interestingness to the video, and it makes it a bit more fun to use for text messages. So that's basically the basis of what they've done in iOS 10. Obviously there's a lot more. One thing I would like to mention for those of you who really do think it should have happened a while ago, me being one of them, they have allowed for you to get rid of custom stock apps that you didn't want on there. So for example, if you didn't want Newsstand, you can now delete that app. If you didn't want Weather, you can now delete that app, which only makes sense really. You've paid £600 for this phone, and if you don't want something on it, you should be able to get rid of it. So they've finally done that. They didn't make a big deal of it in the conference, but if you were wondering and you missed that, that is actually now a thing, and that is great news. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video. It was just a quick video, hopefully, on the top stuff you need to know about iOS 10 and all of the good stuff there. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We will see you next week for another cool video. Also, if you haven't already, check the links in the description. We do have another channel called Blog Brothers, so head over there where we do weekly vlogs and challenges and things like that. If you've got any ideas, let us know over there. But until then, live long and prosper.